Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Had Deadpool's Ability Part 7. Locked up, hearing the words Izuku ran to Mei as the authority chased him. Wrapping his arms around her, the two held each other tightly, listening to each other's breathing. Mei, listen to me. He says into her ear as the clock ticked. And no, this isn't fair. Why can't I have a life with my family? This is rigged, she says as Izuku sighed. I'm still here, I'll be back, I swear. Himiko and the others need me to be back as well. Can't be a deadbeat now can I? Just be strong till I return. He says as tears flowed from her eyes. Okay, I'll be strong, just don't keep us waiting too long. Our baby has to at least know how you look. Don't worry. Already am. I know one day, even with my shitty luck, we will live our best lives without anybody to tell us no. I promise. He says, placing his hand on her cheek. Holding it, she smiled, feeling hopeful. It's always a promise with you, just hope you can keep it. Yeah, just be you, my lovely Pinkie Pie. Izuku says, there is only one of you, so that means I could never replace you. I have to protect you, you don't need this, and you don't need me to move forward. I don't want that for you. Be Mei the world's next greatest inventor. Go far into your dream, I may be a bit far behind, but I'll catch up. Swear it on the little one. He says, placing his hand on her stomach. Honey, just stay safe, don't want to find out that you became stagnant cause of me. I don't want you to worry about where I am and what I'll see or have been. You're better off not knowing the trouble I'm in. Promise me that you'll be safe, cause I don't know what I'll do if you got hurt. He said, gently kissing his fiancée for the last time as he was pulled away from Mei. I promise, but promise me that you'll show up to the wedding so we can make more babies, Mei shouted. They tried to gag Izuku. I promise I will show. I got the encouragement I need, he shouted back as his limbs were strapped tightly together. He didn't resist as his eyes locked onto his friends and family together. Picking up Mei from doing something to stop them from arresting him. Not blinking once, he began to memorize every feature of their faces while his body was restrained. This is fine, they'll be safe. He thought as Nana stayed silent in his head. Soon a man walked in with a briefcase and opened it to reveal a collar. Then quickly strapped it to Izuku's neck, inputting a code and turning it on. Instantaneously throughout his body, Izuku felt huge wave of pain. He screamed in pain as it soon turned into a whimper. What have you done? He shouted at the man. You think that we wouldn't find a way to turn off your powers? Humanity will triumph over anything that's in its way, mutant. He stated while Izuku looked at him shocked. Leaving body parts at scenes didn't help you, nor did it hide your true abilities. You lack a quirk cause you aren't like us. Monster, good thing you're the only one. He stated as Izuku coughed aggressively. Glaring at the man, Izuku then smiled. Man, you don't have a life, bashing on guy you don't know for being born different. Man, you're sad. Say hi to your wife for me. Take him away. The camera were rolling as Izuku was taken away. All saw what happened. There was outrage for a day or two, but in the end no one actually put in the effort to rectify the wrong. The bystander is a bitch, ain't it? Matt was going for an appeal with the help of Nezu, but they were halted and slowed. Mei told the others what he said, to move on and grow. Some took it well, others did not, literally exploding to fits of rage that led into sobs. Eri and Kota felt that justice wasn't served or done right. All the other heroes that came from different countries left bitter that they couldn't catch Deadpool. Stars and Stripes stayed to help with the crime. That was skyrocketing from its low numbers. Everyone that was in hiding was coming out and making moves to fill the vacuum void that All For One and Deadpool filled for years. Shigaraki watched as Nine received the treatment that would complete him. They were making their own moves and he didn't trust the words of the doctor. He watched new and saw the footage of Izuku's past. So did everyone in the league, and they were even more secretive more than ever before. I will be the new All For One. I believe that it's more literal than I took it for. He thought, dusting away a wrapper in his hand. Twice, Mange, compress, we're leaving. Shigaraki stated as Kurogiri made a portal. Where? Mange asked the leader on a side quest. Slice watched him leave, then entered the lab where Nine was held inside a test tube. Sir, what is our step as an organization? She asked as she heard a chuckle. Come on, redhead, it's about having fun. All the heavy hitters are gone, you know what that means. Turning her head to see the doctor's latest experiment. What do you want, righty? She says in a monotone voice. I want to steal all the ice cream. I want Uo and have a chance to become the original, the newly dubbed righty says, stitching on an ear. Don't care. She say, passing the passed out chimera. Activating her quirk, she uses her hair as a shield as bullets bounce off. Aw, so close, righty stated, tossing a smoking pistol to the ground. Ahahaha, I've finally done it. Nine will be perfected, next will be Tamura. The doctor laughed as righty launched and landed in front of him. When can I have a left arm? Having two right arms is a pain, plus Slices calls me names. He whined as the doctor patted his head. Oh, don't worry, we will find you a left one. It will take a while since parts to build you don't come often in good shape. This is the best version of you I could put together. He stated, remembering all the rumble he had to sift through to find them. I just been having the urge to go to him right now even he is rotting. Right, he said as the doctor smiled, you'll get your chance, but we wait for a week or so for the child that we failed to get on the last mission. Coughing his lungs out, Izuku laid on the ground his cell. He was wearing normal MHA clothing with a collar around his neck. It was preventing his healing factor from activating. Looks like my cancer is finally catching up with me. He muttered, trying to get up. By the day he could feel weaker. I ain't in here got to make it to the wedding after Christmas. Izuku said, counting with his fingers, I got this. His cell door opened, so struggling to get up, he moved his legs forward to walk. Here we go. It's time for dinner, boys. He asked, getting in line for food. This place actually has some food instead of slop. Nana stated in head as he nodded, reaching for the final piece of cornbread and placing it on his plate. The person in front of him stopped. He was in the deepest level of Tartarus with the worst of the worst. Some of them he put in there. Hand it over. The man who towered over him. He seemed to have a mutation quirk. He looked like a scarred up rock. Hand what over? Izuku says, stuffing the bread into his mouth. Munching on it and swallowing, tasty, a bit stale. May's cooking is way better. He critiqued as another inmate looked at his own bread. Testing it, he bashed the bread on the ground, cracking the concrete. They all look at Izuku for eating like nothing. So you mind moving forward? I want to try the stuff that looks like mushy peas. Izuku says as the man turned to him. From outside the cafeteria, Izuku was seen flying and crashing into a pillar, breaking through and sent rolling to the ground. Getting up, the other giant inmate was being detained as the other rushed him. I know the routine. He says as they got closer. Putting up his hands, he was tackled, then beaten with electric batons. They dragged him to his cell and threw him in. Well, that went as well as trying to beat MT. Lady in a height competition. He said, whipping his bloody nose on his cloths. Looking at his personal mirror, he saw his reflection. First day here and I already got a bloody nose and a black eye. What's the worst that could happen? He say, coughing out some blood. That ain't good. What's the worst that can happen? Prison loop. It was a cycle of beatings for our main character. Anytime he was given time to leave his cell to eat, he would be thrown back in with injuries worse than the last. With a smile, he took them as every time he would get look around of the layout. Sentry guns lined the walls, aiming at them all. Security guards ready for anything to happen. With many more in standby just in case they go down. The walls were coated in dry blood that looks like a splatter painting. His body was breaking, but it wasn't anything new to him. Sitting down eating on his tray, Izuku was munching down. Someone flipped his table. Acting quickly, he caught his tray with his spoon in his mouth. Problem, mister? I don't know your name. He says, taking a spoonful of the nasty slop. You killed my gang and I was the only survivor, but the authorities locked me up, blah blah blah. Izuku tuned him out and continued to eat. Wondering what was his problem. The man kept going on with his generic backstory that Izuku walked away only to get blocked off by a group. Can I go? I really need to use the toilet. You guys are lucky they don't serve. Getting cut off, Izuku got his food splashed onto his face. Not flinching, he commented on it. Wow, that was weak. Looks like Tubbo here needs to back off, cause I would like to send a letter. Izuku says, skipping past them while tossing his tray into a return bin. Walking up to a random guard, can you give me a pen and paper? Oh, and some glitter, that would be great, he said, excitedly wiping away the food from his body in cloths. Receiving a blow to the face, Izuku was thrusted to the ground as the guard held their hand. Surprised that it throbbed in pain. The hell? He asked, with Izuku getting up holding his bloody nose. All I ask is for a letter, you know, life having mother bucker that wife is too disappointed to have married. Izuku shouted, getting knocked on the head with a baton. Sending him to the ground again with the guards beating and tossing him. To the point the other inmates felt bad for him. Then was dragged and thrown into his cell. Just hold on, I kill all of you. No Izuku, no more of that, but it's so easy to go back into bad habits. He muttered, coughing blood as his vision worsened. Sorry, Mistress Death, I know I promised to die for you, but I have a future I've wanted and it's in arm's reach. He says, passing out. Meeting Nana in his mind. The two have been talking a lot and in his mind built a small home from what remained from his shattered mind. For some reason it's kept him more calm. When he slept he could touch and see Nana in the dream world. So in the home they could decorate with whatever the two thought of. Though eventually those dreams became wet ones. To set the record straight, Nana started it after she created the strongest liquor she could. He was basically manhandled by her. He doesn't like to talk about it, neither does Nana, but the two have moved past it. Nezu was lacking sleep these days. All the work he has done has taken a toll on him. The crime was getting out of control to the point they would do it in front of a hero and intimidate them from sheer numbers. So the next number one hero, Endeavor, decided to take it to another level. By himself he returned the crime rate to low levels in the one city. He worked non-stop, using all of his moves in his arsenal to take out villains. Not giving them the chance to regroup or get bigger. Nipping them in the bud before they become more dangerous. The top-ranked hero like Maruko and Ryukyu followed his example by each taking a city under their names, essentially becoming guardians of their respective cities. Though not all could keep up with them. Lack of heroes was made apparent when MT. Lady and Tuya had to work to take out a dozen up-and-coming gangs. The two fought with no backup for multiple hours. The fighting finally stopped when they captured them all. The hero schools began to push for the students to get their provisional licenses. They all needed the extra manpower to help in these times. Bakugo, Shoto and Izawa were training the hero course as the two had the most experience other than Toga. The girls that Izuku was intimate with were all on break till they gave birth to the child inside them. Ichako and Sai were their helper since the two were more experienced in this. Sai from her siblings and Ichako with her old babysitting job. Momo was supplying the support department with materials that they lacked from this whole situation. Mei was slobbering like crazy wanting to get her hands on her. Mei, calm down and stop moving like that, you know why. Ichako says to the pink-haired girl while holding her above her head. Anti-gravity really does help in situations like these. Why, it's just part of our biology. Ichako say as Mei sighed, I sucked at that subject in school. What grade? I dropped out of school when I was I think 13. Mei admitted, shocking the chestnut-haired girl freak. What? How did you pass the exam, or how are you even in a university? Oh, I just chose C for all my questions and I got a 90 on my exam. Works every time. Mei says as Ichako looked at her shocked. Toga was craving a lot more food than usual. You are going to be a pain when you come, aren't you? She said, eating her lunch watching TV. Ray was with her peeling an apple. Ibarra was planting a sapling in the ground. The two of you will grow together as siblings with the rest of your siblings that are soon to come. She said as Kyoka stood behind as a monster rolled by. Looks like that is their main way to travel here. Kyoka thought as the two were in Deadpoolopolis. She was watching Jeff eat a crab and dig holes to hide in. Messing with the teleporting watch, she found a secret button. Pressing it caused a hatch to open, revealing a series of pictures. They were all moments of them all together, along with photos of him and Mei together when they were younger. Closing it, she smiled. Ibarra, time to go. Mei said we could only use it for a short time. She says to the vine-quirked girl. I'm nervous about the appointment, I hope I'm healthy. It's a couple weeks away, so don't sweat it. All of them had an appointment in Jaku Hospital in a couple weeks since Recovery Girl was across Japan healing injured heroes. So they went with the next best thing. Nagant was in her room laying on her back with the pussycats talking about what the future will hold. As the TV blared of the new hero rankings, Iri and Kota were with them. The two made masks that looked oddly close to Izuku's while also looking more bug-like. Izuku prompted up a mirror reflecting off the guard's TV watching the rankings. Come on Endeavor, let's see what you can show me. Said Izuku as Nana watched with him. Shigaraki was being held down by the throat by 9. Tamura, I told you already. You will be the new me, so don't fight it. Nothing can change the path you chose. 9 said as the rest of the league was down for the count. Gigantomachia was holding them down from doing anything. Shigaraki struggled to talk as 9 knocked him out by cutting his airflow. Nothing can stop us now. Not All Might, not Endeavor. All the chips on our side. 9 stated as the doctor appeared. Doctor, this vessel is great, but I need a perfected one. Tamura shall suffice. Finish him quickly. 9 stated as his eyes rolled back then passed out. The doctor dragged Tamura through a portal entering his lair. Master, everything is within arm's reach, all of them are coming to me, I will have them all. He shouted as his base lit up. Shigaraki will be completed soon, I will make sure of it. Izuku Midoriya, you made this all happen, you will be the reason this all works, the doctor shouted typing on his computer. A hooded Naomu walked out from the shadows. Hood, go find someone strong and kill them, he ordered as the Naomu took off. Ahahaha, this will end in our victory, no All Might, no Deadpool, we will have the advantage, the doctor stated as hundreds of lights lit up of tubes filled with Naumus. All of his life work was finally going to lead somewhere. The Naumus were all close to finish, his master will be back, the children he is after are coming to him, and no one can stop him. Bridie was laying his makeshift bed holding a photo of a faraway shot of Mei. Soon my honey bun, we will be together. He said, grinning crazily, ripping open his stitching on his face. Very, very soon. Hospital visit. Hey monster, you got a special visitor for real this time. A guard told the bloodied up Izuku that was laying against the wall. For reals, or this another trick to beat me for exiting my cell again? The guards just opened the door. Hurry up, monster. Cool beans. Getting up, he exited his cells yawning. Sniffing the air, looks like today's food is leftovers. Wonder who could it be? Mei? No, they wouldn't allow her. Izuku was being led down the corridor into a room with 5-inch glass with 5 holes in it. I am pretty sure I can break it. A sentry gun came out and pointed a red laser on him. Bet I can dodge 10 more came out, a bit overkill. On the other side the door opened. Young Midoriya, it's nice to see you. Tashi said, sitting down as Izuku sat down as well. Good to see you too. Got to say you looks different, did you do something with your hair? Izuku asked the permanently left-armed man. No. I have a surprise, Tashi was about to say until Kota and Eri bursted through the door. Surprised, the two yelled as Izuku smiled. Uncle Papa, the two said in unison. Hey, how are my little gremlins? Great, we want to be like you, Kota said as Izuku looked at him, then at Yagi. Don't blame me. The two look up to you. The two have made up their minds. Well, since I am the least responsible person you could have told. I will know, he started as the kids looked at him with puppy eyes. I can't wait to see your debut, I will be your biggest fan, that goes for the two of you. He stated, pointing at them. Yoshinori studied Izuku as he saw his body littered with bruises that were very purple, nearly black. He was also very thin compared to before. Then noticed the collar. Young Midoriya, please tell me the truth, is that collar killing you? One time you told me about your condition that you had since were born with. Izuku looked at him, locking eyes. His were tired while Yagi's were still burning brightly. With a nod he got his answer. Don't tell the others, please. I am going to do it the proper way. No more running. If they ask, I'm fine, got it? Please just do it for me. Izuku said to Toshinori Yagi. But look at you. You're riddled with bruises, cuts, and who knows what else. I am fine, here. Izuku said to Yagi. Just don't keel over. This is no place for you to die. You have a children coming soon. I know. Eri, your horn is really big, why don't you use your power? Izuku said as she looked at her hands. I'm scared. Don't be, here, use it on me, I won't disappear. He said, sticking his through the glass hole. Quickly Eri activated her quirk and touched his finger, reversing his body. His body glowed brightly till Eri began to lose control. Eri, listen to me. You are not a monster or cursed. You are my beautiful daughter that could never hurt me. He said as she shut off her quirk on her own. Gasping for air, she looked at Izuku to see that he was still there. I did it, she huffed for air. Of course you did, Izuku praised, turning to Kota. Kota, I am not going to be there for a while, so protect her. I will become the greatest hero like you, Kota shouted. Great. You seem tired. Yagi quickly said as he nodded, sleep is the best thing I have here. Sorta have to sleep a lot as well. Izuku says. Bedding up is a pain as well. My fire has been dampened and I trying to keep it that ways. Izuku said to Yagi, change is hard. Change isn't like running in a full sprint one way then coming to a stop to take a quick turn. It takes time to stop and then find a different way to run. Toshinori told Izuku as he grinned. I know, but what's changing me is what's to come in the future. Smiling, Yagi looked at Izuku, no matter what you change into I will be proud of you. What are you, my dad? Sputtering, Yagi's face turned red. And no, I always thought of me as your grandfather of sorts. He stammered out. You know, I'm kinda lucky where I'm at in my cell. I could have been put in the loony bin level. There they just strap you in and leave you in an all-white room. Izuku says, remembering passing Stain there. Young Midoriya, how about we go for a small get-together with everyone when you get out? He says, yeah, it'll be fun. He responded as the guards came in to escort them out. As they left, Izuku looked at his finger. Thank you, Eri. He muttered as he was led back. You gave me another month to live. He sat on his stone bed, he heard the news blaring. That was never a good sign in the society. Flash, Fire, Fist, Endeavor shouted, burning the flying Namu. That slammed him into the side of a building. Beast, like you shouldn't be live. Hawks, evacuate everyone from this building, Endeavor yelled, getting the hooded Namu off of him. Encasing it in fire. It responded by grabbing and throwing Endeavor in the sky. Readjusting himself for flight, he saw the Namu heal from all wounds like nothing. So this is another experiment of the doctor that created Deadpool. He said, powering up his flames. No matter, I will make sure you don't live another painful day. The two clashed in the sky with Endeavor letting out very powerful streams of fire that were able to cut through buildings like nothing. The Namu had great intelligence, being able to think of tactics by itself. With a full arsenal of quirks that gave it the edge in the fight. Along with shooting out some weaker Namu it was carrying, so Hawks went to deal with them. His fire burned bright orange, lighting the sky above, getting rid of all shadows in the vicinity. Dicing the Namu to pure chunks, Endeavor with a yell released his strongest fire blast yet. Prominence burn, he roared, releasing his strongest fire torrent he could. Seeing the no remains of the Namu, he had thought the battle was over. Till he saw the final bit of the Namu's head. He tore off his head, he thought, shout out a lightning fast attack, piercing him in the chest and scraping the left side of his face. Namu quickly regrew all of its body, healing, completing as nothing happened. Then crashed Endeavor to the ground on top of the rubble. No wrong. Ponents, H here. Looking up, he heard and saw a massive crowd of people. Maybe over there. It said, dodging a surprised attack by the downed Endeavor. Only to get thrown into another building. Sparking up his fire up again, Endeavor got up to fight again. If All Might and Deadpool can fight with severe wounds, so can I will not let you stop me, I will do it my way, he stated to the Namu, who grinned. Hawks came in helping with the battle ahead as Endeavor did most of the damage. The Namu's healing was much stronger than the two had anticipated. No matter how many times I burn him he gets back up. Well, try something new, Hawks shouted, avoiding its extra limbs. Shut it, Hawks. This is much different compared to the others. Endeavor said, slashing it to bits with his concentrated fire streams. I can tell that much, Hawks shouted back, sending feathers to the Endeavor's flames. This should help. Thank you. He said as his fire gained a significant boost, burning brighter. He was nearing his limit, his body was overheating. Thinking back, he remembered why he married Rei. To create a perfected version of his quirk that could overcome his weakness. It was idiotic of him to place his dreams upon his children, but one took it, making it his own. Shoto had what he wanted, but rejected him for obvious reasons. The other despised his literal being. His only daughter was the one to even talk to him willfully. She tried her best to keep them together as a family no matter what happened. Then Tuya popped into his mind. His firstborn to be given a powerful fire quirk that was much stronger than his. With a hefty and deadly second part of it that gave his body a cold resistance rather than a fire one like his. He proved that he could move past it to fight. So Endeavor has no excuse to say that he was nearing his limit. If Tuya, All Might, and Deadpool could fight with the odds stacked against them. Whether it be biology or being outnumbered, they would fight to the bitter end, being victorious. If they could do it, then so could he, limit or not. He will live to fight another day. Glaring at the Namu, Endeavor blasted it, burning off its legs. "We act," the Namu said. Endeavor charged up again. Till suddenly it was engulfed in bright blue flames. "Old man, you owe me. Tonight was supposed to be date night with my girlfriend," Tuya stated, lowering his smoking hand. Hawk studied Tuya as the Namu got up again. Tuya grinned, upping his firepower. "Gotta love May's new upgrades for me. I don't even feel the heat," Tuya says as Endeavor and him share a look. "Now let's finish this. Don't want to keep her waiting, she'll blow up my phone again." The two fire users fought with the upgraded Namu, giving it no time to breath. Working together in tandem perfectly. Tuya was his sidekick with Burnin after all. With Hawk supporting the two as Tuya flew faster than him and the Namu. His fire burned brightly and with a grin sent a torrent of fire, burning the back of the Namu, causing it to fall towards the ground. Endeavor flew in, igniting the beast. It wildly attacked as it was back into a corner. Diving in, Tuya covered himself in fire and latched onto the Namu. "Burn, you Jade Crasher Jet, burn," he shouted, blasting fire from every bit of his body. Taking the Namu into the sky with Endeavor right behind him. "Old man, I leave the rest to you," Tuya yelled, letting go and free-falling past Endeavor. The Namu was grabbed by Endeavor and flown into the sky. "I've always hated this motto, but this is the only time I will use it. Prominence burn plus I'll try it." The entire sky lit up as the bright orange fire glowed as bright as a star. It soon died down as it fell to the ground, landing upon the rumble below. The flames extinguished, revealing Endeavor to be still standing with his arm raised, similar to that of All Might's. The people watching rejoiced as Tuya landed next to him. Trying to look cool when severely injured. "'Cause it's working, old man. For them at least. If All Might and Deadpool can, then I can too, but my way." He spoke as Hawks came to help. "Burnt up all my feathers there," Hawk said as Tuya looked at him. "Gotta go, got a date to fix," Tuya says to the man. "Yeah, go fix that," Hawks responded in an off tone. Dewey ignited to fly, only for an inky portal to appear. Out stepped Nine with his eyes glowing brightly. Not wasting a second, Tuya shot fire at him. Nine put up a shield to protect himself. "So we're going play that, huh?" Tuya stated, concentrating the fire, burning a hole the multiple barriers, engulfing the man in hot blue fire. Such tenacity out of a mere child. Nine spoke, stepping out, the flames healing from the wounds. "I'm 22, asshole." From behind, Maruko appeared to kick Nine in the head. Only to pass through as his body turned to ink. "This is a warning to what's to come. All you together do not stand a chance," Nine said, disappearing. "Howard, come and fight me, yo Endeavor and JR, you good," she shouted as Tuya sighed, definitely not making on time. "Looks like I'm sleeping on the couch tonight," Tuya stated as he burned the Namu corpse one more time. Just to make sure it's dead. Days pasted after the incident, with the people came to accept Endeavor as the new #1 hero. May and the others were all working on the school festival that all were excited for. She couldn't participate in the support class, her pregnancy prevented her. So to let off some steam, she went to stay with the Bakugos. There she had a tiny workshop to build whatever she needed. Negan drove the girls to Jakku. "You think we're all healthy?" Toga asked. "I would hope so," Kyoka stated as Abara knitted a small beanie. "The little ones will be fine," Mandalay said as Pixie Bob looked at baby cloths. "I hope they like costumes," Ragdoll shouted, showing hero-themed Onesies on her phone. "The gremlins will be a pain if they act like their father. Having little Izukus running around shooting people would cause a lot of trouble." Nagant added, pulling up the hospital. "We're here. Everybody out, time to get your checkups. Jakku Hospital is such a pain to get to. Like, why put a hospital up on the side of a mountain?" she comments as the others nodded. They waited for the receptionist to call them up, but they were called up very fast and were given a room for them all. Which was sorta odd. That was fast. This is a great hospital, Toga said as the doctor walked in. He was much more stout than them, wearing a lab coat, gear-like goggles, bushy mustache, and had a shiny bald head. Hello ladies, I will be your doctor for your time here. I'm Drive. Darumi Yujiko, but you can call me Dr. Yujiko, he said joyfully with a bright smile. Cool. Kyoka said as Himiko looked at the man almost as if she's seen a ghost. He shut the door as she tried to remember where she's seen him before. Himi, look, this is my personal wanted sign for the doctor. What do you think about, be honest, Izuku said, handing her a poor drawing of a bald man with a bushy mustache and goggles. Izu, it looks like a crappy Dr. Eggman fanart that someone ran over. She responded truthfully, looking at it then back him. Only to see tears flowing out his eyes. You could have just said it was bad, he cried, running to his room and slamming the door shut. Yeah, he's sensitive about his art. Mei said from the stage, repairing a robotic chicken. I should have told you. Just give him a plate of pancakes and milk, then he'll forgive you. Mei says as Himiko nodded, looking at the drawing. Flashing back to the present, Himiko's eyes widened, staring at the doctor. Reaching into her hidden knife in her sleeve, say Drive. Yujiko, have you ever had a patient with a very foul mouth? She asked as the others turned to her. Why yes I have, he had a very colorful vocabulary. Dr. Yujiko stated, turning to Abara to see her charts and medical records, not looking at her. Did he have green hair and green eyes? She says in an innocent voice while lying him down. His entire body flinched and that was all she needed. She dove at him with her knife raised in air. You bastard, she screamed, driving her knife down into him. Suddenly his body disappeared in a blue flash. Hologram, I knew one of you would catch on to me. He at least told one of you how I looked. Dr. Yujiko spoke through a speaker in the room. As it filled with gas quickly, they all tried to use their quirks to break out, only for them to not to activate. That would too easy for you to do that. Now sleep, as you won't remember or feel a thing anymore. He spoke as one by one fell over to trying to bust the door open. Toga fell over, thinking of one person at the moment, that was her pink-haired lover. Mei. Ahahaha, only one to go right, he should get to her soon. Mei was laying on the couch as Masaru and Mitsuki cooked lunch. The door rang multiple times in the row annoyingly. Mei, can you get the bucking door and tell the dumbest to only ring once, then tell him to buck off. This is how a family that wants to be left alone talks, got it? She says as Mei nodded and said, okay mom, then quickly went to open the door. Only ring the door on, says Yufu. She stopped talking as she recognized the man who rung, but felt unsafe by his mere presence. Hi honey bun, miss me? Bleeding out. Mei looked at the man, afraid of what to do. Slamming the door shut with all her strength. Only for foot to halt its tracks. His hand went on the side of the door and was forcing it open. Honey bun, don't be like that. He said, slamming the door open, knocking her to the ground. Mei held her stomach, protecting it as the man looked at her curious. Oh, the doc never told me this. You are having my kid. He says as Mei glared at him. My kid, it's not yours. It will be once I get the original's body. The funny thing is, when he loses a body part it doesn't decompose if it's somewhat okay. The pieces only have one goal, get back to the main body. He stated, looming over Mei with his dim green eyes. I am a bunch of pieces that have been put together, I am just getting what's rightfully mine, that includes you. He says, pointing at her. I want to be complete, I need to be complete, the doctor promised me I could be. I am not Izuku, I am the evil version of him, evil Izuku or evil Deadpool. My title needs work. The doctor was never good with names. Fake Izuku said, with Mei trying to get away. Not wanting to fail the mission, he grabs her leg. No, you aren't getting away from me, we have to raise the little one for the doctor, he shouted, dragging Mei as she struggled to get away. Help, she yelled, struggling more. Leave my daughter alone, Masaru shouted, decking the fake in the face, sending him skidding back. Ah, you undid some of my stitching, he shouted, holding his right ear. Come on pa, why would you hit your son? Evil Izuku asked as Masaru huffed. My son would never grab Mei like that. Masaru says, dodging Izuku's hidden knife. He would never even think about it, Masaru smashing his knee into Izuku's face, causing him to recoil. Ahaha, this is so much fun. He stated, fixing his broken nose with blood dripping from it. Pa, you pack a punch. Mitsuki helped Mei to her feet, aiming a shotgun at the fake. Ooh, looks like you guys are serious. Might as well get serious as well. He say, instantly appearing in front of Masaru with a dagger. Slashing at the man, Izuku nicked his shirt with it. Masaru retaliated by catching the arm, slashing at him, then bending it the opposite direction. Only two for the other to loop around his back and punched him in the nose. Pretty cool, right? I have two right arms, can't wait to get a left one. He said, headbutting Masaru. Then going to cut him, only to find his dagger missing. Looking for something? Masaru asked, spinning the blade in his hand. Thieving old man. You ain't my son, he would have made a great joke by now. Don't care if you don't accept me, I will win in the end, I can see the end, unlike him. He said, kicking Masaru for it be caught. Masaru spun and threw him into the side of a car. Getting up, Izuku looked to see a flying knife going towards him. He'll be alone for life. Dodging to the side, Masaru used the opening to kick in Izuku's head into the car's wheel. Backing off a bit, he looked as Izuku got up, smiling. You may look like him, but his skills and yours are completely different. His are vastly superior. He stated, I might have used my skill points in another department. He said, grabbing the side of the car. Then chucked it at Masaru only for an explosion to knock it to the side. I have my own skills as well. Masaru stated, showing his sweaty arms. The longer the fight went on, the stronger the explosions got. No matter what the evil Izuku did, couldn't get close, as his limitation was his regeneration. What made him able to move was the stitching that held him together. If they fell apart, he wouldn't come back together like Izuku could. The explosion were concentrated at Masaru's fist. As said before, the longer the fight went on, the stronger they got. What's wrong? Can't seem to see. Why would you ever believe to be my son? Cause he would never get in a position like this. Masaru stated, dodging and kneeing him in the gut. Then followed it up with an explosive downwards punch, causing a crater. Shut up, quit comparing me to him. I am not like him, the doctor told me. The same man that made my son the man he is now, he shouted. Don't act as if he will save you. The thoughts that you have do not belong to you, they are mere fabrications. Wake up. Something inside the evil Izuku snapped from his words. The voices telling him to return to the main body only got louder as the voice of the doctor grew louder as well. Shut up, he yelled, lunging at Masaru, then receiving a point-blank explosion punch, sending him flying back. Getting up again covered in blood, he grinned. I'm not going down. May will come with me. She will. He says, rushing forward, cracking the ground as he ran forward. Masaru intercepts him as he chucks sand into his eyes. Pocket sand opening, he shouted, driving his hand through Masaru's abdomen. Now you're part of the donut gang. He says as Masaru stayed quiet. Raising his arms, Masaru brought them down, causing Izuku to buckle under the weight. Pinning him to the ground, filled with adrenaline, he threw explosive punch after explosive punch. Brutalizing the evil version of Izuku, though in Masaru's eyes tears came out, but not from the sand in them. Even after he knew what this thing was in his intentions. He could still see his son in this Frankenstein's monster. Every blow he threw was full of regret, no matter what front he put up or said. His son, who was also the son of his childhood friend that had passed. Getting the sand thrown in his eyes was the best thing to happen. Now he didn't have to see what he was doing. He soon stopped with bloodied hands. All he could tell that Izuku wasn't breathing anymore. Masaru squinted at him as multiple portals opened with Namus coming out. 9 walked out as Mitsuki shot at him. Putting up a barrier, he glared at her. You were taking too long. Oh, looks like you are down. No matter. He stated, shooting purple lasers through Masaru's chest. He turned to do the same to Mitsuki only to receive an explosive blast. Masaru charged at him, so 9 aimed at Mitsuki, causing him to stop. Wise man, you look familiar to someone I've met years ago when he was a brat. Along with fire-breathing friend. Masaru glared at him as his shirt fell off to reveal his entire back to be filled Yakuza-style tattoos. You ruined, took our son and turned him into what he is now. Don't know how you came back to life, but you won't last long. So? I've had done that multiple times, taken children, pulled them apart, put them all back together as one. Asked Tuya. Once a failure, always a failure. 9 stated. Mitsuki stood in front. May. Stay behind me. The heroes are coming, run. Don't look back, please. Mitsuki told May. May nodded, running into the house as 9 tried to chase her, only to be hit with another explosion, stumbling him. Big mistake, he shouted, getting cut off by Mitsuki as she blew the heads off the Namus. Then reloaded her weapon of choice. Izuku's body twitched from the crater he was in, turning his head to watch Maron while grasping a rock in his hand. Masaru rushed 9, ripping apart a blue dragon that was sent at him. His arms burned as every explosion he released was bigger than the one before. The barriers that 9 put up began to crack. Weak quirk, strong body, can't wait to see what can I do when I get a hold of your other son. 9 stated as Masaru broke through enraged. Leave my family out of this. He said, decking 9 only for his fist to be caught. Learn your place, first. 9 says, forcing Masaru to his knees with his sheer strength. Let us see how much you love your wife. 9 stated, aiming his hand at Mitsuki. Masaru ran to her as 9 shot a blast at her. Covering her, the two crashed into their family through the wall. Love will always hold the individual back. 9 says as he looked forward to see a limping, bloody Izuku dragging May behind him by the hair. His body was barely holding itself together. I got her. Let's say she didn't see the rock to the back of her head coming. I heard a crack as it landed. He say, seeming very out of it, a straight tear exited his eye. How that weird. Looks like deep down this body has the original's feelings. A massive torrent of fire hit 9 as he made a barrier in the nick of time. Oh, the other failure has come. 9 said as Tuya rushed forward as they all warped away. Bucky shouted in rage only to see the destruction. Heading into the home, he found Masaru and Mitsuki barely breathing. Sorry, I should have been here, he said as the rest of the heroes and ambulance came. Mitsuki grabbed his arm. They took Mei. Tuya looked at her with wide eyes. I promised to get her back. I swear on it. Tuya stated as she lost consciousness. He hardened his face, made a couple calls as the two were loaded into the ambulances. Looking at the home he felt at ease in shambles, made him feel uncertain of the future for the villains. I could care less if it's unhero-like to kill, I will roast them all. He thought, taking off into the sky to find Endeavor for information. Hours later, Izuku laid in his bed feeling as if something has gone severely wrong. Coughing blood, he huffed for air, holding his chest. Mei, Rei, Ibara, Kyoka, Nagant, Himiko, Shino, Ryuko, Tomoko, what is happening to you guys? He said. His door opened for him to get his last meal of the day. Oh, they fixed the TV. He commented as the news blared showing his parents' home destroyed. Images of Mei appeared with the heading saying missing. Standing in line he stopped to hear the words coming out the television. Saying a UA support student was just kidnapped again by the same group as last time. The League of Villains, the very same that fought All Might and forced him into retirement. She was at her family home when they were attacked. Her parents are in critical condition. Also, we are getting reports of other women going missing from UA. If you see any of them, please call the police to help. They are all pregnant, with Mei Hatsune being very close to giving birth. Izuku listened, ignoring his surroundings. Every word they said made his heart ache. Dropping his tray of food on the ground. He halted the line, listening as the noise around him was tuned out. Move! The one behind him shouted as Izuku ignored him. Getting angry, he shoved Izuku to the ground. Snapping out of it, Izuku got up, picking up his tray. Then glared at the man behind him. Looks like the man finally had some fight in him. What did you know? The bitch on the TV, she's a pretty one. If you ask me, I would have kidnapped her too. Izuku wasted no time slamming his tray into his face the long ways. Gripping his face, Izuku smashed it upon the glass, shattering it. Then dunked the head into the boiling soup they were serving and held him there till he stopped moving. Dropping the man, Izuku breathed heavily, looking at his shaking hands. Sorry, looks like I don't get a chance to change buck my life. He muttered as the guard surrounded him. Sorry fellas, but I'm leaving. Izuku said, catching a baton that swung at him. Using his pure strength he threw the man into the ceiling. One by one Izuku took down the guards in the most painful ways possible. Dabbing a spoon he stabbed at one's eye, then caught another baton, breaking it. The men were thrown around like nothing. Izuku was taking blows to the head and not flinching. Soon the entire cafeteria was silent as he was covered in blood, coughing. Holding his chest tightly as his vision worsened. Buck, this body of mine is really being a dick. Mei, I'm coming for you, stay safe. He muttered with the guards coming out the woodworks. Deadpool, you are hereby sentenced to death. Any last words? Also, you inmates will get 2 years off your sentence if you get the kill. The warden spoke over the intercom. Come at me, I want to get in trouble, I want to start a fight. Izuku says, sticking out his tongue and flicking them off with his right hand. His body felt as if it was on fire, as if he was running a high fever. Charging forward with a flip, he crashed into the crowd of guards, pushing them back. Using his tray he blocked an incoming blow, then uppercutted the attacker. Time to borrow some moves, hope I can't get sued for it. He said, throwing his tray, hitting multiple people in the head, bouncing between them. It returned to my hand as I need another inmate in the face. Then using the tray's edge he busted through his head. I didn't want this, he shouted, catching a baton and bending it. Receiving a lot of blows, Izuku coughed out more blood. He was slowing down as his body deteriorated by the second. You did this to me, he shouted at no one in the area. More like he cursed at his creator. Due to him he could never live a happy life. You made me an insane monster. I will kill you, I will kill you. You should have left them alone. You started this war of ours. All of it is on you, Doctor. All for one. I swear it on my soul. No matter what becomes of me, I will kill you all. You cursed me. Izuku, wake up, Nana shouted in his head, snapping out of it. To see what he has done. Everyone was dead and mutilated to the point of not looking human anymore. His left arm was gone as if it was shot off by an inmate. What have I done? Forget I have to save the girls. He says, grabbing the key card he needed to get to the upper floors. Wrapping his arm in the process. Nana, sorry, lost control for a bit. He said as she sighed, I know it almost dragged me into your mind. She says as Izuku got to the next floor. You know what I must do, right? Yes, it's the only way. I know. I've seen what they did to you. You have every right to be angry. Thanks for the permission. Izuku wrapped his hand with cloth with his teeth as he picked up a baton that he broke the tip of, sharpening its point. Time for Deadpool to work. He said, arriving at the next floor to see guns aimed at him. Just don't die on me. Nana said as he smiled, I won't die. Dashing forward, Izuku evaded all the bullets being shot at him. Only a couple grazed him. Using his new weapon he skewered 2 in the chest. Hold this for me. He says, throwing a flurry of one-armed punches on one poor soul. Izuku grabbed a grenade that was on his chest. Pulling the pin, Izuku chucked it into the group. As it blew up, Izuku uses another as a human shield. Grabbing an empty gun, he turned the hunk of metal into his own bat. Batter batter swing, he shouted, spinning around like a ballerina, hitting a lot of them in the face. Home run. He mentioned, flipping backwards to get some ground. Landing next to the ones holding his baton. Thanks for holding it. He got to the next floor and the next, each one being harder than the last. He fought his through, gutting and killing anyone in his way. He wasn't unscathed. Bullet holes, cuts, broken ribs and a fractured skull were a couple of the wounds he had. The funny thing is, due to his cancer, his blood clouded on the wounds. So he wasn't going to bleed out fast due to it. He found out about that on YouTube video about a fictional drug dealer with cancer. So the cancer had an upside somehow. Limping forward, he made it to the warden's office to find him hung. Looked like he took the easy way out. He rather die than fight him. Grabbing the keys, Izuku left, going towards the exits, grabbing explosives. During his breakout, some of the inmates got up and were wreaking havoc. Stain was taking care of them as Izuku let him out. He was very injured to the point his was barely conscious. There was only one bridge that led out of Tartarus. He planned to get rid of it with said explosives. No one else is leaving this hellhole. He says, blowing the bridge up as he dripped with blood on the sidewalk. Lifting a sewer lid, he hopped in. Can't have the heroes finding me like this. He said, walking down the sewer tunnels. Passing a rat and 4 turtles in bright glowing goo. Trudging forward, his mind could only latch on to the thought of saving the girls. I will save all of you. Navigating his way through, he soon made it to the spot he needed. Exiting the sewers, the news showed his face and blaring about his escape, labeling him the public menace #1. Kill on sight was also written on there. Find the doctor. He said, dumpster diving and finding some new cloths to put on. It was a lot better than wearing bloody prison cloths. This feels familiar. Izuku said as he walked with a cup, acting as if he was a beggar. A woman passed him as he was given her change. How this enough to buy a quarter of a chicken nugget. Damn, prices always going up. What next to gas? He got to the gates of UA, passing through them like nothing. It was silent as he walked into the main building. He looked into the classrooms to find them all empty, no teachers or student. He needed his gear and walked towards the support department. Opening the door, he wished an explosion would go off as he did. To see May happy again without a care in the world, but that was a fantasy and this was his gritty reality. He walked in to see no one working. They all should have been working on the festival, but it was empty. Sad, isn't it? Nezu asked, turning on the lights as Izuku slowly turned his head to him. They were all working hard on the festival. It was supposed to be the wildest one yet, but this all happened. Your parents are safe, the others are worried for you. The girls are being located, but we only have one lead that might be the right one. Nezu said. Izuku looked at him with empty eyes. Give me it. I will get them back. Nezu locked his deep black eyes with his empty ones. All the students are with their families for their protection. Your brother is staying with Yagi along with Kota and Eri. Give me the lead. Even the staff are gone. Nezu continued, going to the corner, opening a door to show Toy Freddy inactive. Opening the stomach, he pulled out the present May created for him. Her best suit yet for him and only him. Along with a watch and his weapons. Best suit I've laid my eyes upon. On par with David Shield's All Might suit in my opinion. Nezu says, sliding it to him. The only question is, what are you going to do with it? Nezu asked him. You don't have to answer, I know your answer. Just remember, revenge only causes more graves to be filled. This path you chose will be your end. You know that? Nezu asked as Izuku, since the beginning. Sighing, Nezu hopped on his shoulder, pressing the buttons on the collar. Within a couple seconds it turned off and fell off. Simple as always, now go do what you do best. But simple is sometimes the best answer. Izuku finally took in a deep breath as his body slowly healed. Grabbing his mask and staring its eyes, Izuku could only see himself. Nezu, make me a promise. Hospital raid. Walking out UA with my gear equipped, I fully get a scope of what I am up against. Heroes, villains, and the doctor, they're all after me to end me. Alone, I am alone in this, but this works. I can do it. I say, teleporting into a bar. Weasel, give me all the guns and ammo you can get me. Already done, sorta knew you'll break out, so I stocked up. Over 3,000 rounds of bullets. He said, handing a duffel bag. Well, we all know what I can do with 12. Bring her back, sorta gotta serve this apple juice to someone. Weasel said as I nodded. I will. Walking out the bar, I warp away to Jaku Hospital. Looks like I'm returning home. Doc better have made me some dinner and washed the dishes. I said, activating my watch's rapid teleporting mode. No sickies are getting in my way. Pov switch time. Appearing inside the hospital, grabbing whoever Izuku could, then teleported out far away to another hospital far away and dropping them off. Reappearing back at Jaku, he grabbed more. Every second that passed, he teleported out every person he could grab in the moment. Every patient he grabbed, he made sure to take what they needed to live as well. Taking the freaking out workers was a struggle. Shut up, lady, I'm trying to save you, quit screamin', you ain't hurt ow my eye, Izuku yelled, dropping the nurse at the other hospital, pulling the pin out. The final person he picked up was a girl that looked like a 12-year-old. She had a black spot on her eye with pure white skin. Who are you? I am Deadpool. He said looking around for others. Well I'm Nina, but my friends call me Domino. Pool didn't ask. I am quirkless, but I do have a superpower, I'm lucky. Are you an orphan? Cause I know why you are here. Also being lucky isn't a superpower. Yes it is and yes I am orphan a bald doctor brought me here taking me out the orphanage I was in, he said, I was special. Well okay, but luck is not a superpower kid. Yes it is. No it's not. Yes it is. You know what I'm dropping you off at a friend's place. Izuku said teleporting to Al-Haib in a while sorry, but take of this kid also take her to bingo night and somehow sneak her into a casino. He teleported as Domino stood there confused. Hi. Can you see? Al asked as the young girl nodded, yes I can. Well then we are building a desk. Okay. Nina said helping the blind lady. After this we are gambling. Sounds fun. Good girl. Moving on he checked every room to see anyone that was left. In the final room he checked he found a knife laying on the ground. Picking it up he whispered sticking it into one of his many pockets. I will save you. Time to start my horror story. Dr. Yujiko trudged around looking for the patients. Where is everyone? Are they planning a surprise party? He asked around with all the lights going out, leaving him in darkness. Down the hall a single light flickered on to reveal a dark green suit with a blade clinking on the wall. Fear doc cause I am here. Doctor looked at the man got closer, shivering in fear he reached into his coat pocket grabbing a remote. Hahaha doc I'm home. Get away from me he yelled pressing some buttons as Izuku ran him appearing in front of him. Slashing downwards the doctor put his arms up only for it to stop. The hell? Izuku shouted looking his blade being stopped to the arm of Anamu. Hey you didn't expect me to have some sort of protection. The doctor laughed as from behind him a horde of black Namu stood. At him, Izuku pulled out his Uzi and sprayed at doctor only for it to warp behind the horde. Get back here. You always run but I love the chase Izuku shouted taking out another Uzi spraying into crowd. They regened like nothing. Copycats. All this was planned after all it was him. The best plan is always boom and worry about the details later. Pulling the pins of his grenades the entire gulf in fire. Out he stepped with his suit healing with him. Reaching into his duffel bag he pulled out his Gatling gun and mowed down the Naumus rushing out the fire. Smells like freshly cut grass if the grass I was cutting had flesh. He stated as the wall beside him broke with a massive hand picking him up. Raw where a massive Nauma roared as Izuku threw a nade into its mouth. Bye-bye. It blew, sending Izuku through multiple walls. Looking up he saw the horde took apart heel and pulled themselves together. You annoying shits, I'm going to kill you all again. Digging into his bag and pulling out 2 rocket launchers, running at them Izuku shot the rockets whilst taking out his blades. Levi Beyblade he shouted rotating his body very quickly as the rockets exploded sending them all towards him. Cutting what was left of them to bit then smaller bits. Using the opening he dashed towards the doctor. Yoo-hoo here comes Deadpool. Now that is extremely unfair. Izuku said reaching the secret entrance to the lair to see hundreds to 1,000 Naumus awakening from their tubes. Suddenly he was tackled out by a flying one, he kicked into the ceiling. A small black hole pulled in his arm, so tearing it off he looked to see high-end Naumus looking at him. Come at me I will kill this entire universe if I have to I am saving them, he roared as they all charged him as he pulled out more explosives. From the outside all the top-ranked heroes and sidekicks landed at the base of mountain. From there they all could see the explosions inside the hospital. Looks like he started without us. Tuya stated with endeavor nodding. Maruko hopped ahead well let's not waste any time let's kick their asses, she shouted landing on a tree branch. Only to see from the ground out dug out Naumus. What the hell? She says kicking one in the face sending it flying. Erase her do your thing, Burnin shouted as Azawa erase all the Naumus quirks. Unalive them. He said tiredly taking out a gift he was given by a certain insane broccoli. This isn't my style, but they crossed the line first taking my students again. No second chances. He shot Naumus in the head with his own custom pistol. Duya flew ahead trying to get to the hospital. So impatient, so glad Tamura didn't fail me so I didn't have to deal with you. 9 stated catching him with a dragon sprouting from his back. You. Tuya says burning his way out. Tuya sent a massive flame torrent at 9 only to be redirected. Oh replacement why don't you re-aim this fire at your father that you hate? Oh I will, but saving my family comes first. The 2 fought with 9 barely breaking a sweat. His body was keeping itself together using a certain mutant's healing ability. This all will fall nothing will stop me now, 9 proclaimed as Tuya stood up, no it won't, I am Tuya Todoroki, Dabi, Midoriya. As long I am alive you will not win cause you know what buck you and whatever you stand for. Tuya said this as his mind shifted to Chittis. Thinking of her inside their home waiting for the stork to come. He had too much to lose, so he wasn't going to let All for One win. Igniting his hands Tuya glared at 9 who was being controlled by All for One the man he thought Izuku killed. Guess you can't keep an old villain down. The 2 continued to fight as the Naumus kept coming, no matter how many they took out. There are around 276 of us versus an army of undead quirk-filled zombies. As always says tying up 4 as midnight finished them off. Yeah, we're at 2, the cavalry isn't coming cause there is none. She says knocking out another Naumu. Keep your hopes up. Mick said activating his quirk to disorient the Naumus charging at them. Kinda hard in a situation like this. As always says, how about this after this we get some drinks on me. Midnight offered huffing for breath. No thanks, you know how you get with your weird drinks. Mick says grinning as the trio fought together. Giant lady you're late, Maruko shouted as MT. Lady ran in, sorry we ran into some hiccups. She says squashing some Naumus as the entire mountain shook violently. The hell. The Naumus all stopped attacking and retreated following some type of orders. 9 looked up and underneath his mask he grinned. Awaken Gigantomachia. He ordered with claws sprouting from the ground. Out dug a massive man covered in his own rock-like armor exterior. He roared as MT. Lady charged in with boulder in hand. Here I thought I was the biggest, she shouted, smashing the boulder into Gigantomachia's face. The attack was shrugged off by the giant man. Puny flies. He spoke as MT. Lady got into a flighting stance. Really regretting not having a weapon my size. She muttered, uprooting a tree. From the sky something crashed onto the side of Gigantomachia's face, it being a massive fire blast from the number 1 hero, with the number 2 next to him. He is really big, think you can take him? Doesn't matter, we have to win. Endeavor spoke as Hawks shrugged. Naumus charged in using their multiple quirks to overwhelm them. Huffing for air, Izuku clicking his trigger to his guns only for them all to be empty. His weapons have been all depleted, having used all of his explosives as well. Looking to his left and saw a fireman's axe for emergency. I am pretty this constitutes as an emergency. He says breaking the glass to it, ripping it out. Only to find out it opened like a door. Oh, should have read the rest of the label. Looking at his chipped blades he sheathed them. His suit had been dye red from all the blood he was covered in. Wait for me. He said as a massive lizard-looking Naumu appeared looking at him with one eye. Has Cyclops time to follow the myth with your type? He says blinding the Naumu with the axe, swinging it with full force, then tackled the beast with all of his strength. He was stronger from every upgrade he has been given. Running while holding the Naumu, pushing the ones in front of him to the side. Using the beast as battling ram he busted through the undead horde. Hiraiguo, Izuku roared, finally getting through, entering the lair to see a gun aimed at him. Hello original. Ducking to the side he dodged the bullet. Get out of my way, I have an appointment to get to. Make me. Oh I will, cocksucking loser. Izuku said, taking out his blades as his other did the same, but only taking out one while on his other, he held a pistol. After I kill you, don't worry, I'll take care of May, I'll make her feel really good. The fake says with maniacal grin, spinning his blade. That comment made Izuku stop, feeling something internally snap from the comment. Nobody talks about his wife that way. Yeah, I am going to kill you. Izuku said with smile that looked anything but happy. Not even a second later Izuku swung at him, getting parried by the fake's blade. Leaning to the side Izuku dodged as the other shot at him. Izuku went to sweep his legs only for the fake to backflip over his leg, shooting him in the thigh. Not flinching Izuku got up, charging at the fake with his blades. Get diced, he shouted with the fake using his sword to clash with his only for Izuku's bad luck to kick in. His blades shattered after the prolonged use against the Naumu. Seizing the moment the fake Izuku closed in and lopped off Izuku's left arm. Retaliating Izuku hide kicked him, sending him into the air, then roundhouse kicked him. That sent the fake flying into a giant test tube, causing the liquid inside to spill. Holding his shoulder, realization hit him. He wasn't healing from the wound. His arm wasn't regrowing at all. It showed no signs of it. Ahaha, looks like you noticed, I said I would become the original by killing you. Guess what, we found a way to stop you from healing specifically. The fake said, getting back up. We made this for you and only you, so feel special. Today the great Deadpool dies metaphorically and physically, filling your own self, engulfing his body in fire. Endeavor shot concentrated fire stream at the massive villain. Barely even burning the man called Gigantomachia. Hawk's bladed feathers didn't even cut, even with the help of MT. Lady they could only slow him. I can't hold him, she yelled, trying to slow the fellow giant from reaching the rest of the heroes. Gigantomachia roared, throwing the pro heroine to the side as Nine grinned. All of it is coming together. He stated. Tuya coughed blood as Nine stood over him. You know, I am sure in another universe you might have worked under me and I would have fulfilled all of your wonderful dreams. Nine stated while a blast of blue fire hit him. Tuya struggled to get up. Even if I did in some other world, that world ain't mine. I could care less about another world, this is the one I live in. Tuya says, engulfing his hands with his fire. This one is filled with ones I've grown to love and it just turns out I can't leave them behind. Plus my lover would kill me. Oh, the thought of love, such an irritating feeling that humans cling to just to live. Fight for others, just to die as a meaningless martyr to inspire others to fight as well. Such a way will eventually lead us all to extinction, fighting each other till there is nothing left. Nine spoke as a storm brewed in the sky. fighting each other for small physical differences or beliefs. When under the skin they are all the same organs, muscles, and bones. Fighting, hating each other for ancestors' actions and blaming it on descendants that had nothing to do with it. Breeding each other's hate for one another. 9 spoke, picking up a rock and crushing it, such a hateful species, the world's own parasite. Tuya listened as the sky darkened. Yeah, that's true, the treatment of the quirkless, weak quirked mutant type, and the many others treated wrongly. That is why we must teach the next generation to do better, to look back at our wrongs, do better and move on, Tuya shouted, dashing forward as his thoughts flashed back to Chidis as the two painted a room light blue with a smile, looking forward towards the future. I won't let you win. This is not a showing of my love for others, no, this is a showing of my pride, Tuya shouted, dodging all of Nine's attacks while landing a couple of his own. Landing a blazing kick on Nine, sending him into the sky. Get burned, Tuya yelled, releasing his biggest fire torrent yet into the sky. 9 made a barrier as the heat around him rose significantly. Love can get someone killed. But that pride of yours will be the death of you, 9 stated, erupting from his back, hundreds of blue dragon serpents heading towards Tuya. Up above, a helicopter flew, showing the scale of the battle. Chidis watched as the new blared on the TV. Tuya, don't die. She muttered, pulling out her phone. The entirety of Japan could see the battle and showing the heroes and villains. Seeing the heroes being weakened and defeated slowly. Itsuki watched it as Toshinori sat next to him. All Might, I have to go. He stated, getting up. I can see that, my boy, but not alone. Yagi stated, I'm not, I going to get my bros team back together for another mission. Making a call, shitty hair, call the rest, be ready and meet me at UA. He stated as Eri and Kota looked at him, stay safe, the two shouted at him as he took flight towards UA using his explosions. Holding his shoulder stub, Izuku stared with his evil self. Talking and talking about shit not even relevant to what was happening. Is this how the others feel about me when I fight? Because right now you are most annoying shit right now. I rather eat laxatives and crazy glue my asshole shut than listen to another goddamn word from you, Izuku shouted, running at him. That hurt. His evil stated, slashing at Izuku with his blades. Using his legs, Izuku blocked the blade with his soles of his boots. Then used his severed arm as a club. Wow, that's pretty handy. Just shut up and get out my way, Izuku shouted, leaning back, barely avoiding another sword attack. It's called carbonadium, slightly radioactive, very malleable and vastly stronger than any steel, that's why your crappy blades broke, he shouted as gashed Izuku on his side. This was specifically made to kill you and anyone with a healing factor. Izuku backed up, slipping on his blood, saving him from being cut in half. Don't care, you want a Deadpool villain that will never gain popularity, Izuku yelled, rolling to the side, dodging. Wanna know the funny thing? He asked, kicking Izuku in the face as he tried to get up. I have too, he said, taking out another from out nowhere. Now that is just plain unfair. Izuku said, finally growing back his other arm. Sorry, but I don't give a fuck. He responded, blitzing Izuku, plunging his blade into his hip, only for it to be stopped long enough for Izuku to punch him back. Sending him skidding back, reaching into the pocket he stabbed. He pulled out Himiko's knife. Thank you, Golcat. I'll win for you. He said, running at grinning evil Izuku. Izuku was at massive disadvantage, but it wasn't going to slow him. It didn't before and it won't now. The two sent sparks everywhere, sending the other flying occasionally. Every move Izuku performed, he did it as if he was about to die. Being efficient with his moves and not doing extra movements. Though he did still get damage getting cut with the blades. The two locked blades as Izuku saw that her knife was lined with cracks from the sharp edge. Just let it happen, die, so I can live my dreams. Let me enter my paradise, he shouted, catching Izuku off guard and impaling him with both blades at once in the chest. LL lucky SS shot. Izuku stuttered out with blood exiting his mouth. He was lifted Izuku into the air. Ha, you just got kebab, he shouted, holding Izuku body over his head. He squeezed for air and did the only thing he could think of. Izuku jabbed his fingers into his evil self eyes. Driving them deeply, causing him to drop Izuku to the ground. Not letting the chance slip, Izuku got on top of him. Then threw blow after blow into his evil self. Using all of his strength behind every punch. The ground below him cracked from the punches. You should have let me pass. You would still be able to live, he shouted as he saw tears exit from his eyes, trying to hold his arms back weakly. He felt sorry till he was reminded that he brought Mei and maybe others here too. Feeling enraged again, Izuku interlocked his hands and smashed them down. Obliterating his like a watermelon, spreading his matter everywhere. To make sure, he tore out one of the carbonadium blades from his chest and pierced the corpse repeatedly. Forcing the regeneration to stop permanently. He was bleeding badly and it was leaping like a flood. Faster I get it out the better. He muttered, ripping out the other blade. May, I'm coming. He whispered, using the blades as canes. He picked up Himiko's knife and put it away. Then limped his way deeper into the lab's lower sections. His healing wasn't kicking in, it was taking its sweet time to come back. Mei, Timi, Hina, Hayo, Rei, Shino. Tomoko, Ryuko. He muttered their names on repeated as he got closer to his goals. His wounds didn't help the situation not one bit. Nana spoke to him in his mind, but he was too focused to listen to her. He kept trudging forward. I guess you killed him, huh? Not like I had high hopes for him. Promised to make him the original he believed me. Such a useless tool couldn't get one thing right. Waste of space, unlike you, my perfect creation. Shut up, oh mad. I did make you the man you are, and looks like I have say I could done better. The two of us wanted different things in life. You wanted a family and I wanted a soldier. I guess we're both disappointed then. Hardly all the Namas outside are cause of you after all. They will soon slaughter all your friends without mercy. Programmed to do so like you. Your life has always been in the palm of my hand. I could taken you back the moment you entered that pizzeria, but I saw you made a small friend. I knew that it would soon turn to something more, so I waited. For your offspring it would become the perfect body for my master. You do not know the thrill I had when I found out you had multiple women by your side. So desperate for a family you attached yourself to whoever give you a small amount of love. How sad. Shut it. Don't talk about them as if you know them like I do. Izuku got an open to find Shigaraki's body floating in a tube. Using the blades, Izuku broke it open. Bob, don't worry, I'll save you. I won't let All for One take over you. You are still my friend after all. He stated. Izuku, send me in. I can prevent his mind from being taken over. Just transfer me like One for All. Are you sure? Yes, it's been fun while I was with you, but I have fixed my past mistakes of my original self. Don't forget me, cause I know I won't ever forget you. I won't, I promise. Izuku dripped his blood into Shigaraki's mouth and slowly felt Nana fade from his mind. Bob, don't worry, I'll be back. He said, getting up slowly to head towards the doctor. No more running. 2 cavalries show up. Midnight held her wound, applying pressure so she wouldn't bleed out. It was across her stomach as Awa was wrapping up her wound with his cloth. Nick held the Namas at bay as they were all surrounded. Nem, stay awake, don't fall asleep, got it, listen to my voice. As Awa stated as Namuriaka. Midnight did her best to stay awake. Sorry, I'm just so tired, but I'll do my best. Wounded and tired, no matter how many times they put them down. The Namas got right back, Endeavor's fire wasn't helping from the fact Gigantamachia's hide wasn't showing any sign of damage. Boruko, Burnin and Ryukyu were working together taking out the everlasting horde of undead. Stay down, you buckhead, Maruko roared, ripping off another head as Burnin cauterized the wound, putting it down. Ryukyu squashed group with her massive body as Burnin did the same as before. There's no end to these guys. Burnin muttered, getting pounced on. Seeing this, Maruko quickly disposed of the said Namu. Don't you dare get killed, you are the only reason the others haven't got up. Noted. Burnin said, burning another corpse. There is just too many of them. Tuya was trying his best to stay conscious. 9 had sent a large amount of blue serpent-like dragons at him. Scorching them all to ash, he was left open for 9 to strike him with lightning. Saint A awake, he shouted, activating his fire, burning his forearms. Forcing himself wide awake. Such dedication. 9 stated, appearing in front of him and kicking the man through several charred trees. For nothing. There is no chance you all are winning. This battle is mine for the win. From the dense forest, 9 saw a massive light of fire. Burning brighting, casting a massive shadow upon him. He looked deeper to see a bloody Tuya with his entire hero suit torn off. With his arms in the sky, Tuya locked eyes with opponent. Izuku was right, sometimes being the crazier one in fight could turn the tide. He muttered, sending a massive wave of blue fire at 9. The trees that separated the two turned to pure ash as 9 created a barrier to protect himself. So he is finally using the full extent of his quirk. Too bad it'll kill him. 9 stated as something crashed into his barrier, cracking it. He was unable to see what hit it due to the fire. Tuya busted through with a flaming fist that sent 9 into the air. Tuya's skin was charring as he fought 9. Without Mei's specialized suit, he was burning himself, though now he could fully and freely use his fire. Grabbing his foot, Tuya slammed him down. 9 grunted as he was swung multiple trees. Using his leg, Tuya sent 9 into the air with a concentrated fire blast. Not letting 9 recover, he released another blindingly bright wave of fire. Burn, he shouted, flying into the air and latching onto the charred man. Zipping across the quickly crashed 9 directly into Gigantamachia's hard forehead. Here's your master, Tuya yelled, letting his fire consume him as 9 burned. Gigantamachia smacked Tuya off as he fell. He reignited and flew right back. Unleashing the full extent of his quirk at the massive beast. This will not end in your win, all for one, Tuya yelled as his flesh was burned to the point it was falling apart. The same could be said for 9's body, it was crumbling away as well. Endeavor, seeing this, flew at him. Tuya, do you dare die on me? Not again, Endeavor shouted, grabbing the man out of the sky. Seizing the opportunity, 9 raised his crisply burnt arm and shot multiple lasers through Endeavor's abdomen. The two crashed to the ground as Tuya tried to get up despite his wounds. Tuya, don't, Endeavor said, pausing for every breath as Tuya looked as if he was falling apart. Gigantamachia roared as his size got bigger and larger. Mount Lady was thrown aside with ease. You have to be kidding. She stated as Gigantamachia's body was covered rock-like armor. This is just unfair. She muttered, getting back up. Ox flew around, cutting down as many Naomu as he could. Let this battle end now. Fully healed, Nine shouted, stirring the clouds above as loud thunder sounded. Lightning was crackling across the clouds. No more heroes to resist me. Lightning rained down upon the heroes, all aimed at them. Till suddenly every single strike of lightning was redirected towards the sky. Now what? He stated as from the clouds emerged a familiar bus. On the roof stood Denki Kaminari, sending all of the lightning he stored right back at Nine and Gigantomachia, stunning them a bit. Go now guys, he shouted as a speaker came on and Kitsuki got on the mic. Hey you bunch of cheating bitches, get ready to get your asses kicked for messing with us. You mess with one of us, you mess with the rest of us, or did you forget what happened in Camino? X-Force is back in action. Momo ordered the rest of the Year 1 hero students to jump out of the bus. They all parachuted to the ground with backpacks filled with bags of blood. Blood. Well, this a very special type donated by Deadpool himself right before he left UA final time. They all began to administer these packets to all the heroes so they could fully heal them all. Kitsuki got off the speaker as Momo, Achako and you were still aboard. Nijira and Tamaki already jumped off to help Fat Gum and Ryukyu. Ryukyu, I'm coming, she shouted as Tamaki stayed silent. Hinton, don't buck this up. He stated, grabbing Kaminari from the roof. Then blasted himself to the ground level. Same thing like last time? Achako asked the other two as they nodded. Okay, hold on, Achako stated as the trio jumped off, floating toward MT. Lady to give her a much needed upgrade. The bus flew forward, accelerating towards the giant rock man. Then the bus expanded in size at the last moment of contact. Not again. Nine stated as it crashed upon him again. On the inside there stood the inheritor of his brother's quirk. Pucker up, Mirio shouted, sending Nine flying back. The bus also made Gigantomachia recoil from its sheer size. Yellow electricity bounced off of him as Black Whip flowed out from his hands. He floated midair as Gigantomachia reached for him, only to be stopped by a fully healed and energized MT. Lady. Hey back you bitch. With a nice set of spiked brass knuckles, she slugged the rock man, cracking the armor he put on. Whoa, these bad boys do wonders, she shouted as a massive bat expanded from the ground that she gladly took. Okay ladies, just keep these coming. She restarted her fight with Gigantomachia, this time with an actual fighting chance of winning. With the help of Achako, Momo and you. These burns are pretty bad. Ribbit. Sayu says as she healed Endeavor and Tuya. Shoto landed nearby to see the two in this state. The Namu are still coming from the ground. The three of us are the strongest fire users in the vicinity. The plan is we are going to burn them all. He stated as Endeavor nodded as Tuya stayed quiet. You all are such problem children, when we get back you all are getting detention. As always stated, grinning, what, no expulsion? Mina asked with grin as he shook his head. No. I would be an irrational teacher if I expelled you guys before I punished you one last time. That's a joke. Right. Mina asked as Azawa stayed silent and leaped away. Mr. Azawa, Mina shouted playfully, activating her acid man. Kaminari followed her along with Kirishima. Zero swung around with Mineta sticking the Namus together. You kids are sure full of life. Midnight stated as her wounds were healing. Ms. Midnight, don't we all will be okay, so we can go back to school because you still have plenty to teach us, Mina shouted, melting a Namu. She sighed as Mick got her up. Can't let the kids show us up now, can we? He said as she nodded. Nine was struggling to hold up his own against Mirio. He wasn't pulling any punches. We are here to save them all, Mirio shouted, smacking down Nine to the ground. There is nothing to save. Nine stated with Mirio just throwing him into the dense forest. Say that again. Kitsuki says, blasting Nine with his palms, sending him back to Mirio. Oh, the older sibling comes to see his brother fail. Nine stated as Mirio wrapped him with Black Whip. The thing is, my cavalry hasn't arrived yet. Nine stated with his eyes glowing brightly. If you guys can have reinforcement, then so can I. It's only fair. The massive black and purple misty portal opened up. I really didn't want to use my trump card. Nine stated as from the portal emerged high-end Naumus, walking out alongside other Gigantomachias. Twice his quirk is quite useful when in my hands. I can do so much more, even get back my original form. From the portal out flew All for One back in the flesh. You think I didn't think of this? Nine asked Mirio and Kitsuki. Looks like we are going to give it our all then. Kitsuki said, obliterated Nine's head as it healed. Mirio wrapped it in Black Whip, preventing it from regrowing right. Well, All Might Jr. Looks like this is a shit show. Kitsuki said with Mirio nodding. Time to show our training. Mirio stated, taking off towards All for One. Kitsuki was right behind him as his shifted to the ruined hospital. Then shifted back to the fight at hand. Nezu was at UA watching the live feed as the students crashed the party. He went to the workshop to see his next step to help them. How's it coming? Great, these bad boys will be up in the air in no time. Stars and Stripes shouted as she worked on her team bomber jets. You think we can win even with these upgrades? One asked as Nezu nodded. I have a promise to keep after all. Nezu said as Toshinori showed up with Eri and Kota. Don't worry, we will win this. Nezu looked at defeat as Toshinori paled at the return of All for One's original form. We have two. Izuku trudged forward to see multiple bright lights. He could hear constant clicking of a key as he got closer. Making it to the room, he found his target. The man that started him down this road was right in front of him yet again. This time he will not get away with what he did. Doc, it's time for you to sleep forever. Izuku says, raising his new carbonadium blades. His wounds were leaking, but he could still move, so he wasn't wasting a single moment. He dashed towards the man with his blades raised. I wouldn't do that if I were you. He said with a testing tube rising from the ground. Halting his attack, Izuku crashed into the ground, rolling to a stop. You wouldn't want to hurt her. I'll kill you. What did you do? Izuku shouted as the rest raised to reveal of his lovers inside the tubes asleep. Mei, Rei, Himiko, Ibara, Nagant, Shino, Ryuko, Tomoko, Kyoka. Izuku listed off as he looked at them floating in a tube. Heisty bunch of women. The doctor spoke, reaching into his pocket. That are no longer with us. That last comment made Izuku's heart stop. The hell do you mean? Exactly what I said. They didn't survive the procedure I put them through. Especially the pink-haired one. The evil you sorta cracked the back of her skull with a rock, causing significant brain damage. The doctor stated as Izuku dropped his blades. So the odds weren't high for her anyways. The same for the others. The procedure was too much for them all, and the brains swelled that then lead into the brain-dead corpses you see before you. The doctor says as Izuku collapsed to his knees. What procedure? You ask. I invented it, but I already got a name for it. Rapid fetus growth, that's the name, and it tells you what I did. Also tells you what they went through cause of you. He says, walking around getting closer to Izuku. But that was failure as well. The offspring weren't up to my standards compared to you. So I scrapped them. Besides, I can always start anew. He said, placing his hands on Izuku's shoulders from behind. Izuku Midoriya's weakness isn't anything grand, it is something much more simpler, his mind. His mental instability. The doctor thinks as he pressed play on a video showing the procedure being done to all at the same time, and with final sound of the video being the sound of a machine flatlining. What a shame, you came here for nothing. Izuku slowly stood up, ripping off his mask and threw it to the ground. Then turned to the doctor, not sure of what emotion to feel, sadness or anger. His mind was conflicted, confused, scrambled. A single thought yelled louder than the rest, and that thought was kill the man in front of him. Doctor grinned as Izuku reached for him. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.